Cicero, Disputationes Tusculanae, Episode 1. As we begin this new series on Cicero's Tusculan Disputations, his philosophical musings, it's important to note that the first sentence is so long that it actually won't fit on the screen unless the font is really small. So we're going to divide it in half, and we decided to divide it here. So let's read the Latin first. Cum defensionem laboribus senatoriisque muneribus, aut omnino, aut magna ex parte, essem aliquando liberatus, retuli me, brute, te hortante maxime, ad ea studia, quae retenta animo, remissa temporibus, longo intervallo intermissa revocavi. As Cicero begins, he uses cum here as a conjunction with essem liberatus. So essem liberatus is going to be first singular, it's going to be pluperfect, indicative, and passive. So the verb libero, liberare, like so, means to set free. The third principal part is avi, and the fourth as a first conjugation verb is atus. So I'm going to take the cum here as temporal. Cum with a subjunctive like this can be temporal, it can be causal, it can be concessive. I believe this one is temporal. So he is saying, when I had been set free, essem liberatus, for a bit, aliquando, or at some point. Now, from what had he been set free? We are going to have a number of ablatives of separation. The first one is laboribus, and the second one is muneribus. And senatoriis is modifying muneribus. So laboribus, masculine, plural, and ablative of separation. Muneribus, neuter, plural, and ablative of separation. The one is from the third declension noun labor, laboris, which is masculine, and the other is from the third declension noun munus, muneris, which is neuter, as I have said. So when I had been freed from the labors of the court, so the labors of offering defenses, defensionum. Let's clear the screen a minute. Defensionum is going to be feminine, plural, and genitive. It's a genitive patterning with laboribus. So when, cum, essem liberatus, I had been freed from the labors or the tasks, laboribus, of defense in court, of offering defenses, and from the senatoriis muneribus, from my senatorial duties. So those are both ablatives of separation, as I have said, muneribus and laboribus. Either completely, omnino. So here is an adverb. And now we're going to have magna ex parte, which is a prepositional phrase functioning adverbially. So either completely or for the most part, magna ex parte. That's how we would translate this prepositional phrase. Now, as I said, omnino is an adverb, magna ex parte is a prepositional phrase, not an adverb, but it is being used, and in the standard way in Latin, it's being used adverbially, which means to provide information about the action. So when was I freed? Completely freed or mostly freed, magna ex parte. So when all of that was done, now we get the main verb, retuli me. I went back, I returned. Now this verb retuli here is from refero, referre, which is an irregular third declension verb. The third principal part is retuli, like so, and the fourth is relatus. And refero means to carry back. Now, when it is used with a reflexive, like so, it simply means to go, similar to the way in which confero, confere, means to take oneself, if it's used with the reflexive se. So retuli me, with me here in the masculine singular and accusative, referring to Cicero, means I returned. Then we have brute, the addressee, and this is Marcus Brutus, and this is going to be masculine singular vocative. I returned, O Brutus. Then we have this nice ablative absolute, te hortante, at your insistence or with your encouragement. Both of these are masculine singular and ablative, hortante from the first conjugation deponent verb hortor, hortari. I returned, Brutus, at your urging, primarily. So is it your urging primarily, or is it primarily to the studies? I think we want to take maxime with hortante, but that's a matter of interpretation. He says, I took myself back, Brutus, primarily at your insistence, or I returned, to those studies, ad ea studia. The preposition ad here takes always and only the accusative, so ea studia, neuter, plural, and accusative. Then we're going to have some modification. So to those studies which I called back, revocavi, because they were retenta, they were retained in my mind. In other words, I hadn't forgotten them. So retenta, neuter, plural, and accusative, and this is from the verb retineo, retinere, to bring back or to hold on to. They were remissa, somewhat vague perhaps, or relaxed because of time, temporibus. So remissa also neuter, plural, accusative. And they were intermissa, interrupted, also neuter, plural, accusative, by a long break, longo intervallo, which will be neuter, singular, and ablative. So we are still not at the end of the sentence. There's just as much remaining as we have already covered, but we already see something of Cicero's tremendous artistry. Here is the main verb, I returned. When all of this was true, O Brutus, I went back, retuli me, primarily at your insistence, I went back ad ea studia. So we have a form of referre, we have the object, which is me, and then we have the preposition ad with its object, ea studia. That's the basis of this sentence here. To those studies which I regained revocavi, although I'm going to take retenta, remissa, and intermissa, these three participles, I'm going to take them concessively, which, although I retained them in my mind, they were somewhat remissa due to time. They were somewhat lessened or slackened, and they had been interrupted, longo intervallo, by another ablative of time, which we have already described. Finally, revocavi, first singular, perfect, indicative, and active, of course, from the first conjugation verb revoco and revocare, like so. Thank you so much for watching this free video. I hope that you learned a lot about the classical languages and advanced your knowledge and enjoyment. You can help us keep going with this instruction if you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've had hundreds of thousands of views in the last 9 years, and we would really like to grow our number of subscribers. If you hit the little bell, you will be notified every time we release a brand new free instructional video. You can also check out one of my Latin or Greek courses at LatinPerDiem.com if you'd like to study Latin and Greek with me directly. So keep learning, and vale tote omnes.